How you doing, guys, and welcome. So, Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Now, Star Wars Attack of the Clones, at best, this is an average saga of all, and I see a lot of problems in this one, and I see more. This is a controversial film than of all. This is not one of my favorite Star Wars rewatches of all because I think in overall this movie is very boring. I think it takes forever to get going. And the story is very overlong. I mean, another political narrative around like the assassination, conspiracy. It's kind of less adventure. I mean, like several many other solar systems declared their intention to leave the Republic, those kind of stuff. And it's very slow pace. There are too many conflict narratives exist in this particular one. The level of excitement is average or below average and goes above towards the final sequences. It lacks a lot in many things. It's vague, too stable. This is not the one to give a huge applause, and it's really a struggle to gain attraction and feel boredom and too much duel and downtime. Not having good pace of sci-fi actions in place made it really a slog throughout the entire story. I mean, what's the big impact in this particular movie that gets you really? I mean, basically nothing, really nothing, except for one scene, one particular scene. I mean, that's about it. It's very takes forever to get going. I mean, ponderous plot throughout. It didn't advance all the elements clearly from episode one, which I don't know why people hate on that movie. I think the hate should be on this film. It made it more cloudy and underdeveloped in many things, very clumsy. This is a major letdown by a lot, and more disappointing than The Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones deserves more hate and criticism, really. And one of the big thing that gets me in terms of the boredom is that it's the big romance boredom between Anakin and Padme. At first, they were nice. I mean, they finally meet reunited for the first time in 10 years. Okay, but I think Anakin being try hard, being awkward, that kind of like he's arrogant and trying too hard, bro, kind of personality kind of gets you. It's like makes it so boring. It's very unnatural and yeah, when they're in like in Naboo, at first they were nice, then it gets like darker and like they got heated and like yeah, it gets awkward and very strange. And Anakin not being established himself kind of like kills a lot in the story. And the fact that Hayden Christensen came into this movie, I think it's not a good thing. I think it was kind of like he wasn't not mature enough. Like he got thrown into like tough spot. So yeah, he was not in a good spot in terms of playing Anakin Skywalker because he was not established stuff. He was not that pure as when he was the little boy, the Anakin that showed up in the Phantom Menace. Like between Anakin and Padme, it's just like very very boredom to watch. Like it's not intense enough. It got intense one few times, but like it's not that much. And I like the fact in this movie they underdeveloped a lot of characters, particularly Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like after beating Darth Maul, I thought he's gonna have a bigger role in this one. He kind of had the diminished role, but even he was in a spotlight, but like looking for assassins and he finally discovers the clones in Caminos. Like, okay, kind of get it. Then like goes to Geonosis, getting captures. Like, I didn't like the whole Obi-Wan narrative or like kind of like role in this one. He's like kind of he was like very very lesser role. It's like he was not in a big time action role or like battle kind of lead the charge. He's not that kind of guy in this one. So I'm actually very disappointed on Obi-Wan's role. And yes, Ewan McGregor played good, but like I just didn't like the whole role of Obi-Wan Kenobi in this one. Just kind of like casting aside, oh, do this, like does all the dirty work stuff. I just didn't like that. And another thing, small stuff, but like C-3PO, he was a complete drag on this movie. He was like very, very useless in this one. I mean, once gets to Geonosis, he was like a very, very disruptive. I was like, why are you there? He's just really embarrassed himself. That was very, very poor. I didn't like it compared to R2D2. We know R2 is always a great utility droid and very, very useful. One of the best droids of all, probably the best droid of all. He's always comes in the rescue or very, very useful. And big situations. He's always great. But C3PO is like, oh, in this one, he really embarrassed himself. He very embarrassed himself. Now, there's a couple things I really like about this man. I mean, Jedi gathering all at Geonosis, that was very cool. And Count Dooku, even in the opening crawls, like Count Dooku is like, who is Count Dooku? And that part of the like him as a character coming up is like in this one is like where's the origin of Count Dooku? Is like kind of get it, but I thought Count Dooku's cool and polished, skillful Sith Lord, undeniably good appeal. He brought a good appeal to this one. Very cool lightsaber, especially the hilt with that curved hilt lightsaber. That's very cool. His skillful uses of the Force lightning, his lightsaber uses. He's very one of the cool Sith Lords of all. Very, very cool. And absolutely, and Yoda stole the show at the end with his moves, battle out with Count Dooku. And that's the best moment of all in Attack of the Clones. I mean, clearly, without a doubt. And one big credit about this movie is that I think this one at least kept the story continuity. Despite the boredom and everything, it's very slow and everything. It's Anakin. Anakin taking his first glimpse towards the dark side, his mother dying on his arm, and slaughtering the Tuscans and admitting the terrible deeds to Padme. Then that's when the moment is like, oh, he's like getting towards to that dark path. When he slaughtered everybody's like, that kind of was chilling. That really kind of got me. That's the only like big impact that got me. Is like that really sets off well for the next one, and was Revenge of the Sith and everything. So that's the one part that I give him credit for. However, in totality, this is probably the poor Star Wars films of all. If it wasn't for particular one film from the sequel trilogy and one from the anthology film, so it's a 2.5 star. This is a way below average standard. Overlong storytelling with huge boredom. Takes forever for the action to get going. The romance between Anakin and Padme were nice at first, but it gets boring and awkward from Anakin's perspective. It got to a point where it's too much and not that organic. Towards the final 30-40 minutes, saved from being the absolute worst this film is. Overall, not the best one. Average, it's okay. This should deserve more criticism over the Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones, not my favorite rewatch. Not my favorite rewatch. But at least they kept the continuity. That's all the time for this one. Next one, why Star Wars Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movies of all. I'll explain. Getting ready for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.